Hey guys, so good evening. It's let me slide over this way here, maybe in the light. Hey, it's Wednesday night, 29th of August. My night video, and just a good day all around. A lot of things to share. I'm probably going to be a little scattered right now because my mind hasn't quite processed everything yet. So, but I want to get this out of the way for a reason. I don't mean that rudely. Get it out of the way. But if you've heard about me talking early on in this journey, one of the things I missed terribly with my kids is we used to watch America's Got Talent religiously. And if I saw correctly, America's Got Talent is the finals tonight, possibly, live, or the results. I'm not sure what it is. I guess maybe the results, maybe last night was I don't know. Anyway, and I think I have an opportunity to watch it, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm glad to be able to go ahead and do that. Today I made it into Oklahoma. I made it into Miami, spelled like Miami, but pronounced Miami, Oklahoma. And bunch of fascinating things took place today. I tried to cover a lot of it already in the daytime, but leaving Baxter Springs, Kansas, one of my favorite stops on the trek, and Brian and Brad and Cody were walked out with me, and that meant a lot to me. It's the first time the group has walked any stretch of the journey with me, with the exception of crossing the Mississippi, which Jamie did with me. That meant a lot to me, guys, so thank you very much. And along the way, I passed Mickey Mantle's hometown, and I got into Miami, and a couple of neat things transpired. You saw me get real excited. I'm a big sports guy. And this is the home of Steve Owens, who was a 1969 Heisman Trophy winner. Billy Sims has a restaurant here, a lot of memorabilia. I still didn't post those pictures yet. Shoot. I got to do that. Sorry about that, guys. And then I made it in, before I made it into town, well, I did make it into town, I met with the local paper and spoke with them, and it was kind of different. I went by their office. Normally they'll come out and, talk with me if somebody wants to meet with me, but it was not. I just sat at basically an office table and shared conversation with folks. I've got some things definitely on my to-do list tonight. I have an opportunity to get to a computer, so a bunch of people ordered shirts, so thank you. Tracy and Susan and somebody else ordered shirts, and I forgot who, but I need to email them to get their size because I still haven't fixed the glitch with PayPal. So they give me your shipping information, you just don't tell me what size you ordered. So I'll probably be sending an email out later tonight about that. And after meeting with the interview, Mike Lilly, a gentleman in town, just a great guy, and his wife Carla invited me to meet with them, and then eventually have dinner with their pastor Tyler. And there's a lot to share, and I think I'll probably have a lot more in the morning to share. There's a thing right there. Anyway, sorry guys. I think I'll have a lot more to share in the morning, but there are a few things that jumped out at me today that, the observations I've got. One of them is I've been really impressed, having kind of pushed organized religion away from me many years ago. My basis for understanding organized religion comes from about 4 or 5 years of upbringing in the Catholic Church. And that's about it. And one of the things I noticed tonight is, and I thought this was pretty cool, was the number of people I've met, pastors that lead their churches that are, relatively young. When I was younger, as a kid, it seemed to me that I didn't think that the older generation would embrace somebody young speaking to them about experiences in the Bible, that somehow age and experience went hand in hand, or age, experience, and knowledge. But going all the way back to Leah in Hobart, Indiana, and then last night Cody in Baxter Springs, Kansas, and tonight Tyler here in Miami, Oklahoma, young folks, and I thought it was interesting in two ways. One, that these young people are pursuing, ministry as a vocation, and two, that they're being accepted by the older generation. Both of those things surprised me. So that was just an observation I've had over the last few days, and I might even be missing a few more. Josh and Bethany back in Joplin, well, they're not the pastor of their church. They are involved certainly in the ministry, and there's another group of young people. So I thought I was pretty fascinated by that. But the memory of today will definitely be meeting Mike Lilly and his wife. It's hard to wrap Mike. I didn't even get a picture with him. I don't know why I didn't get a picture with Mike yet. I'll be seeing him tomorrow morning, so I'll be sure to get a picture with him. Hopefully his wife. If not, he has to send me one. But there were a few things that just jumped out at me about Mike. One is his self-deprecating humor. I don't think there's any replacement for a sense of humor. And we talked about being able to laugh at yourself, and he does it in every context. In the religious context. In fact, we started a crusade tonight to be nice to your pastor crusade. So Mike will be nice to Tyler. But anyway, the sense of humor goes such a long way, and to be able to laugh at yourself is something that sounds a lot easier than it is, and I applaud him for that. And the other thing is that Mike has no shame in talking about his love of Jesus and God, but he does so. One of the things I really loved about it was when you talk about, I think he said he's been married 43 years, which is amazing to me, because his wife Claire, I think, only looks like she's 50 years old. And I joked about that when I first met him, that I didn't think he was the kind of guy to marry a 7-year-old, but that's how young she looks. But 43 years of marriage. And what I love is when people are real, and Mike did not pretend that it's been easy, and it was all his doing. He certainly came from a dysfunctional upbringing and had his own battles. And like I said, I think it takes a big person to point the thumb at themselves. And it's real easy to talk Jesus and God and hide behind that a little bit, because I think some people do that. But Mike puts it all out there for you to know that in his younger days he was a bit of a hellraiser, and shared some stories about that and how it came to be. And those are things I'll get in more detail with and in the book, or even in tomorrow's video. So I just like real. I like people that are real, and it was neat. Mike and Claire got me a hotel room tonight, and again, I'm having a hard time embracing that. And as Mike said, look, man, you've been on your feet. Claire said maybe he would just like some time to be alone and get a meal in his stomach and a bed to go to bed when he wants to. And there's been some truth in that too, that I do on occasion have a night like that. Like I said, I'm going to be able to watch America's Got Talent tonight and talk to my kids, which would be really cool for me. And then Mike came and picked me up, and we went to dinner with Pastor Tyler, and Evelyn joined us. And again, I didn't get a picture. I don't know why I didn't get a picture. I don't know why my mind was lapsing tonight. I'm a bit fried, I guess. But before we did, he took me on a kind of tour of some of the things. One of the things was I got some pictures I have to post of a ballroom. I think it's called the Coleman Ballroom down in town, and it really is beautiful. And I got a couple of pictures, but and I should have got on camera the gentleman talking to me about how they sold off a lot of the management at one point, the giant organ and the giant chandelier, but how they got them back was kind of a really neat story, and I wouldn't do it justice, although maybe I'll try. So that was kind of neat. So he took me to the ballroom, we got out and did that, and then he took me to a town called Pitcher, and Pitcher is essentially a ghost town right now. It really is. It's what they call chat, and chat is basically gravel, but the area was covered with lead and zinc, and it became uninhabitable, and the Tar Creek, I guess, had the area kind of get vacated. I think government came out and bought folks out, so it's essentially a vacant ghost town now. But to drive around and still see the foundations, everything was really kind of neat. I'd never seen a ghost town. I know there's a town in Pennsylvania that is supposed to be vacated because the ground underneath it, the coal and anthracite, is on fire beneath it. That was kind of a cool thing. So it was a nice day. It was a relatively mild day. Like I said, it was great seeing the guys and having them see me off. It was great eating with Brian. did some wash, went to Billy Sims restaurant, and Omar, I think I talked earlier about Omar, to those of you that didn't see my live stream. One of the most random acts of the journey happened today. So I had left Billy Sims restaurant and was walking down towards downtown where the paper was, where Mike's office is, and I was at a traffic light crossing it on foot, and the car kind of honks at me and rolls down the window and says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, thank you." Kind of gave a thumbs up and said thank you, and kind of turned away. And then I said, "Well, let me do my thing. I keep business cards in my pocket." And said, "Hey, I'm walking across the country. If you could follow me, I appreciate it." And I gave him my business card. He had a $10 bill in his hand, and he gave me a $10 bill. And just that's all he did. Didn't ask for anything. Didn't ask for a picture. And there's traffic, and of course there's people behind him. Kind of, come on, man, let's get it going. And then he honked again, and I looked over, and he's got his hand out the window, and he gives me a water and a sandwich in a baggie. So I don't think he made the sandwich to order right there in the driver's seat or passenger seat. But again, this gentleman thought enough of me to give these to me, and I thought, what a cool thing. He didn't ask for anything in return, didn't really even ask who I was or tell me who he was, and he went on his way. So I did a live stream about that, and about a quarter mile up the road, and there comes this gentleman, this young, handsome, in shape young guy, comes up to me and asks me if there's anything I need. I guess he's a biker, so he's used to people going kind of through the route and across the country. And he got out, and we started talking about what I'm doing, and he gave me a hug, and basically said, "Look, if there's anything you need at all, don't hesitate to call me." And his name is Omar, and just fascinating occurrence. I mean, we talk about humanity and odd occurrences, and like I said, I was just standing on the street corner. I'll say minding my business, so but it's hard to mind my business when I'm 6'4" with a giant backpack. And this guy just took it upon himself to reach out to me, and what a warm gesture that was. So it still kind of takes my breath away a little bit to think, that these things exist and these things happen. So, it was just some days I don't have the most exciting things to talk about, but it doesn't mean there's any less personality out there. A lot of times it's just me, to be honest with you. It's just kind of, some days I'm kind of beat. In fact, I stood up earlier, and I thought I had a good day. I thought I felt good, and with my knees, I couldn't even bend them. So anyway, that's a little bit about today. As I said, I just wanted to get this done so I can go focus on watching the show, calling my kids, and then getting kind of the shirts ordered and delivered to you guys. I'll probably sleep on it and have a lot more clearer mindset later to share with you in the morning. I'm off to Afton, Oklahoma tomorrow. The last few days I've had some people reaching out from in front of me that have heard about me through Facebook. I don't have that tomorrow. So if anybody knows anybody in Afton, want to let them know that I'm coming, give me a honk or a wave. It means the world to me. I did, in speaking with Mike at his office earlier this afternoon, really get kind of shooken up about something I've been really hesitant about. And as I said, I've talked many times now, and I keep talking about it, hoping someone has that magic recipe to make this journey make sense. But as I get out west, those towns are few and far between. And Mike and I sat there and we went through the towns basically west of Oklahoma City. And the couple little towns we shared, I think one was called like Weatherford or something, that was 35 miles. The next one was 60 miles. I can't do that in one day. Mike's suggestion, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, was, hey, you should jump on a Greyhound from Oklahoma City straight out to Amarillo. He said, I'll bet there'll be plenty of stories and people on Greyhound, and you can spend as many days as you want in Amarillo. And while I don't necessarily think I want to do that, it's certainly something to consider, and maybe not Amarillo, but just take a bus between towns. And it's not walking. I readily admit it's not walking, but again, I'm not built for walking and sleeping in a desert just to say I did something. Scott Redding said, look, get a Greyhound, not a Greyhound, get a U-Haul with an air mattress and just drive the dang thing 20 miles or drive it to the next town if it's 35 miles. And you know what, if you don't have a place, you just sleep outside in there. And if you get out to the desert and you think you want to stop after 20 miles and see if people stop and talk to you, you got a place to sleep. And that might be an option, although I don't know how without available credit or money, but that's another story entirely. So anyway, those are some of the challenges. Guys, I'm running out of time. I got to run. I love you, Kira, Landon, Grace. Love you guys. Have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.